you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell-Rappin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. You know how I feel about the world of human first, connecting us as people, and yes, we can support with tech, but never at the exclusion of the human. And that's why I'm super excited to bring our guest today, who I think is one of the coolest peeps you're going to cross paths with if you don't already know him, because he is a legend. He's a game changer, and he's going to help us figure out the AI plus the human and how to really play in the world of business on the social media platform LinkedIn, because this is really where a lot of business is happening. It's not something you can avoid, ignore if you really want to win today. So give a warm welcome to our fabulous guest, RUKE.
Howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy. It's so nice to have you here, my friend. I am super excited to have this conversation.
Yeah. How do we begin? It's this can become a rabbit hole real quickly.
Well, we're not going down the rabbit holes because we need to get people out of the rabbit hole. That's where they're stuck already. But you know, this world of AI, like it is not new. And this is, I think, the fascinating thing. So many people like woke up off the turnip truck and said, "Oh, AI, oh my God, AI is new." And so let's be clear. Automation, computer technology, and moving it has been around a lot of years, but it is shifting in quantum leaps, and it is making the noise that we started to create a whole lot noisier. So I think the big challenge people have is, how do I stand out in a world I feel completely invisible in?
Yeah, well, I think let me a couple points on AI. First of all, you nailed it, right? First of all, it's not artificial intelligence by any means at this point. It will be at some point. It is machine learning. And we've had data sets before. We've used programs to understand data sets, and we've had to do things before. Automation is a great way to articulate that. So that's beautiful. My fundamental belief of AI is going to make the lazy people lazier. It's going to make the incompetent people more incompetent. It's going to make those who are hustling, grinding it go easier. It's going to make the smarter people smarter. So you're just going to see a gap, right? I don't like to play in, if you're not a part of AI, you're going to miss out. You know, I don't believe we buy from things, you don't know what you don't know. That's why you got to hire me, right? I don't think that's a good, I think that's really, really bad itself too. But I do, it is the great separator and the amplifier. It's talk about rabbit hole. The biggest time that I see that people spend on AI is in that rabbit hole. And a lot of it's because they're amused, delighted of, I had a thought and it created something. And generally it creates all this. And they go, "Oh, I created it. Let me put it out there." Right. And that becomes a lot of digital trash. Digital litter is what I call that. A lot of noise.
Love that.
And the problem with that is, if you're just doing that, you don't own it. Now, listen, I'm not talking about copyright. That's a whole nother conversation I can get into, but not this broadcast. Meaning you don't own the words, the energy, the content, the conversation around it, what it's saying, why it's saying it. So meaning, if someone asks you about, "Hey, I saw your email blast or your newsletter on this, I'd like to talk to you about it," you can't. Because you don't own that conversation, because you didn't produce it. You hit a button, made it happen. So I love going into sessions with AI with a specific goal and bringing your thoughts and content and say, how can I make it better or expand upon it? So fundamentally, you own the content, the theory, and the subject matter.
I think this is interesting. One of the biggest roadblocks I've had mentally in my own adoption of AI was that I never wanted to have this social awkward moment where someone comes up to me, phone call, bumps into me and says, like, "We had this whole amazing conversation." And I'm like, I didn't have that with you. Like, I mean, I'm human, so I have brain farts all the time. And I'm like, not knowing that I had the conversation and just not having it are two totally different things for me. And so it's interesting when you talk about, do you own that conversation. If you are part of the creator, I feel safer that I am in safe ground, because integrity is such a big part of me that I'm like, I never want you to feel like we've had this amazing experience that we didn't actually have. Even if I've trained in AI, even if it represents and can do some amazing things. And it's interesting you talk about a gap. Makes the smarter people smarter. Those that are struggling struggle more.
You're
And
so kind. But
the
yeah,
concern we have is, how can you outsource your voice and own it when you don't know what it first is?
you can't. I'm just going to give you like a here. I'm going to give you this because you deserve this.
Guys, if you're not watching this in video, go find us in a video platform. This is
Oh, sorry.
fantastic on screen.
Got you on virtual fireworks. That's the whole point. You can't
And
do
we
that.
slow down enough to hear that, my friends.
So what? And you brought it up. I was talking posting. You're bringing it to the actual scripting, your direct messaging. Let's pick on LinkedIn from this perspective, and that's horrible. And I hear you. So and I know that we're going to talk a little bit about amplify later, but I'm gonna just hit a different subject of amplification right here. So amplification. I've done this for several decades. My agency. I've launched hundreds of brands, products, and services very successfully. And the one thing we look at is amplifying success. How do that's how you scale a company, amplify success. So how can you do that if you don't know what the success is? I can't tell you how many people go, well, I want to hire a salesperson. Well, what's your closing rate? What proof or what do you have that converts that you can show? Well, no, that's why I'm doing this. Well, then you're, and they add automation and they put in AI, and all you're doing is you're scaling ignorance. That's all you're doing.
God, that was beautiful.
Yeah. And so when you're talking about using AI, and by the way, warning, LinkedIn doesn't like this, but if you're using AI and automation within your messaging, you're just spamming more people with bad stuff. And by the way, AI and LinkedIn is even wrong on this. I'll give you one quick thing. Every AI will say, hey, hi, hello. Never use an H word when you're doing any messaging, because everybody's using it, therefore we know you're a robot. Straight up. Therefore we ignore it. But it will always suggest that. But when having those conversations, I can't even tell you how many people don't even look up their previous conversation with someone to even get caught up to it. It's saying things, it's making promises, it's making the relationship on false premise of what you can't deliver. And if you're a coach or a consultant, that kills your company, and you're bringing in people that you don't even want to work with. Now, when you have the answer though to this, let's go to the positive. If and this is what we, right now we have a couple of things that we're doing, because we use Go High Level and all that we are using automation, because we're repeating this type of phrase at a mass scale and it's working. Automate it. But then the second response, humans pick it up. So knowing where that balance is where you can, yes, own the conversation because you've proven a set of steps work, but then the human steps in to make sure that it's super real. Because I'm going to tell you, people don't mind that it's AI. We don't care that it's AI. We just don't want crappy AI. We don't want more automated spamming of crap. That's what we don't want. And so until you know your voice and what works with your audience best, you have no business putting into AI, and you have no business putting in automation, because you're scaling crap.
I love that. So, I want your audience and everyone here listening to this to hear this. You have to get it working with a human exchange. You've got to vet and have that feedback loop. And once it's got movement, and that's the goal, right? Automation, it was the process of movement. So it's sequences, dominoes effects, and just building step by step. If it's working, we can engage to a certain point. And I love that you say put your turn signal on and then exchange the human conversation. And I've had some great exchanges on LinkedIn where people, I'm like, this is so automated, it's not even relevant. And whatever you've got in this system, and they're like, well, I'm trying to build scale. I'm like, you have no chance of me being a client because of how this feels. And if you looked at actually what I do, the light bulb goes off, first off, and then they say, have you got some ideas? And I'm like, yeah. First off, to find clients, volume isn't the only part of the equation. And I do have some great ideas, but they're all going to be human orientated. And then
Mhm.
crickets. That sounds like a lot of work. Well, if you're only
Yes.
finding 5 to 20 people a year, I'm prepared to do that work.
Yeah. Well, it's also called a business.
It's called a business.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a lot of work. We're business owners. This is not
Yeah.
easy. We have to juggle so many different things. But to your point, that's absolutely correct. And so you have hobbyists trying to use AI to be a business. And again, they're just amplifying non-success. It's just not going to work for them. And they're burning their audience. I'll tell you this. One of the things that I do at my workshop, because I teach, AI plus human equals real sales, right? So I know you love that. And one of the things I do is I show words, and we have to vote on, did a robot say that the most or a human say that, and all this. And I will tell you the number one thing that AI continuously tells us, because it always suggests this, is the word unlock.
Unlock and
Unlock this,
transform.
unlock this, unlock this. So if you want to tell someone that you're an amateur and you don't know anything you're doing, right, and you're new at this, use the word unlock. And you might go, well, but I use that. I actually say that's part of my trademark. I said, I hear that, but you might consider changing or how you use it very carefully, because it doesn't matter. It's being ruined by AI. Because see, what AI is basically going to say, so Christine, here's the best performing email. RUKE, here's the best performing email. Sandy, here's the best performing email. And so people who don't know their voice, don't know their audience, and don't know those ideas of their content will copy it, paste it, and everybody's saying the exact same thing, and that's why they're becoming invisible. It is telling you the exact format, the exact words, the exact rhythm to everybody. And it's going, but everybody's using it. But yeah, it's creating.
You end up back in vanilla land that you were trying to escape desperately.
Yes.
Because it aggregates. And this is a firework moment. It is the point of, you are 1 in a million or 8 billion. It is time to recognize AI is going to be garbage in, garbage out, exceptional understanding in, exceptional impact coming out. And we don't mind. I love that statement you had. We don't mind that it's automated to a certain extent, but if we can't get out of the feedback loop, you will lose the business. You will lower the bar of standard. And do you want to play there? Yeah. Giant question mark, universe. I'm a hell no.
Yeah.
I am a hell no. And that I got very good course corrected in a conversation I was in just last week, because we were talking about AI and they brought a fresh perspective to me and said this. Because I said, I am stuck with some of this in my head. Intellectually, I have a bit of a roadblock on it. And he's like, so you're not seeing the results, you're getting stuck in the process. Yeah. And I was like, oh God, that's a love tap. Getting a bit of a black eye out of it. But it was really true, because he said, you can still stay human. I can't imagine, Christina, you're going to do things that aren't human first. But so get a working concept and still play the game, but insert the human. So I love your perspective, because you said the second exchange becomes human. Is that a standard that you coach around, or is that something that you feel people should pay more attention to, and why?
Well, I feel like just in general that, well, first of all, I do want to say this, that it's not the AI, it's the I behind the AI that matters. And that just, y'all, that's something I coined. There you go. You can have it. The reason why I say that is there's all kinds of automation, all kinds of AI that we can do. But if you don't know what your outcomes you want, if you don't bring your own success history to it, if you don't know the outcomes you want for it, it's not going to go good for you. It's just going to create frustration and chaos, even within your customers and your customer journey. So I would tell you, it depends on the campaign. It's what we're looking for. And let me tell you this, and this is where I think people get this very, very wrong. The only reason why you do any kind of content, social media, direct messaging, emails, any of that, is to fish for engagement. That's all you're looking for. Someone to go, I dig what you're doing. So paying attention to that closely is very, very important. So yes, going back and forth, which is the engagement, when you know these series of things work. And by the way, we like to put jokes in them when you say that we don't mind it's AI, because it's fun. That's huge. But at some point, it's getting to a specific thing that you have to make a decision instead of a yes, no. It's an organic decision. That's when the humans take over. And so that might be the first, second, maybe sometimes the third response. It depends what kind of decision tree we're taking them down.
I think that's important. This concept of when it becomes an organic creation piece, humans step in. Guys, because we're always looking for the decision-making moment. Remember, you've heard it here many, many times. A buyer, by definition, is a decision maker. So we can help them move them through steps of, am I in the right room? Steps of certainty. You're looking for engagement. And when you're at that real place of big creativity, money moving hands in big dollars, humans should be always part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, because you do a lot of automations for your clients. When you say step in a human way, what does that actually mean?
Casual. Okay, so there's a couple things here. So first, there's a universal truth that I teach is it's not know, like, and trust. It's like, trust, then I care to get to know you. All right. I want to mix that to my sales theory as well. There's 3 closes. People think like, hey, I got to check the contract, get closed. No, that's not the close. You have to close them that you're the one first. Then that the solution is the right solution. And then the financial conversation is the third close. That still goes back to the you. So when you talk about the human thing, it's very, very important that if you're doing, let's make sure we connect, that you come in with a conversation so they feel seen and heard. And that the AI really, I take that back. We are developing our own right now. That does a very good job of making sure people are seen and heard. But you got to make sure it's seen and heard. And generally AI cannot do that. I don't know if any, like there's like 2 platforms I know that can do that. And we're part of one of them. But that's huge. That's when they go, because this is also another universal truth. Everybody wants to buy. You said buyers are decision makers, and I get that. And that's true. They're just trying to decide who they want to buy from.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that means, again, it's you. It's you. So it's cool to have a little opening to make sure someone's there, that they're engaging, but then you have to come in with the conversation so they know, oh, you're real and you care. And that's kind of what you said from the beginning. Sales is a numbers game. You and I know that. But I also say it's a quality game, especially right now. It's a quality game. And that's what wins. We want to work with
Quality
people
can really accelerate speed. Because there is, if you don't make an offer, you're at 0. And we know zeros don't win in the math game. You got to get at 1 at least. You got to get off 0. That's why we talk about that concept a lot, getting off 0. But let's be clear, if you've got great quality, the speed at which you can get to the yes is hugely influenced. And it's influenced by your opinion, your expertise. And I think it's so important to hear again, you get hired for the lens in which you have. You said people are buyers. They're looking for who to buy from. And there are lots of choices. That means you're in a market that's spending. That's good. But what makes you the must hire? And I'm curious if you have preferred tools that you think we should start with to really get our head out of the sand.
Yeah. I did want to touch on one point because you talked about the human part. I only meet with people that I find interesting. So I think it's very, very important before you actually meet with someone or you reach out to them or put them on your list, find something interesting about them that you find interesting. Therefore, you can hold that conversation. That's when the human takes over, by the way. They talk about things that they go, I see this. Because we want to deal with business with those who champion us. And AI and most business people have conversations of practical business facts and products and services, but they're not championing the other person. They don't see the other person. That's huge. So how we do that first is there's really 3 things we use. One, I have so my company, I have 100 formulas on everything and before AI, and it's all AI compatible at this point, clearly. So I use our conversational campaigns formulas. If you want some, hit me up. We can talk about that. I like using Claude. I love using Claude.ai because Claude retains tone and humanality better than ChatGPT and anything else out there. And it also does more different things and deeper. That's my favorite thing for not doing research, but actually writing scripts with our formulas. But then, we do use research. I do like NowSite. NowSite has a feature social under their social to lead, where you can screen grab someone's social, put it in there, and it'll give you all, because it cross-references all the database. If you're not into Zoom Info or Apollo, which is another database stuff that we use and subscribe to, but it will tell you all about their personality, how to approach them. You can take our scripts, your script, whatever that is, put it in, and it'll customize it for you. And I will tell you the funnest thing to do to have conversations with people is Evy AI, EVYAI.com.
Joe's program is fantastic.
Yeah. Joe's amazing. So Evy's great. And what I love about Evy, and I want you to hear how I use this because we're talking humans again, okay? Evy knows my company. It knows what I sell, knows my goals. It knows my scripts. It knows my formulas. And it also knows my personality. So when I look at someone's post, I use the Evy widget and it reads it. And it says, I go, I want my everyday RUKE. And then it tells me what I should say. Now, I don't hit enter. What I do is, my whole computer is voice activated. I use speak to text. But what I use the AI for is to scan, so I don't have to read it, and suggest RUKE based on what you're doing, what this post is saying. Here's what I suggest you say. Cool. And then I'll say it with my real words. That is huge because all I'm doing is speaking, hit, enter, speaking, hit, enter, speaking, hit, enter. And so I do that. And I don't use it for chat because I think chat's more personal. It's not professional. That's where a lot of people get wrong with LinkedIn. They treat it like it's a professional resume thing. It's not. But that's been a huge time saver for me.
I love that. I love it. And it's great. I mean, Joe's a great friend. We both know him as person, not just the business that he creates. And I think it's important that we look at this because I said, I got hard check last week. So, we're all going to adopt at different spaces, but think about the outcome. And if you choose AI and human, there's a real way that you can win when you know who you are, what you stand for, and the result that you want to create with cool, interesting people and build a business that feels like oxygen. I absolutely love that. So I want to ask you, because I think I said you're one of the cool people I know in my inner circle.
Thank you.
What's working for you right now to amplify your message, to find clients in the current economy and to find success that gets you excited every day?
Yeah. So that was a big question.
No, well, come on, go home. Go big or go home, my friend.
I love it because you just covered a whole lot. That could be the whole next podcast. So I'm going to say this again, and this is, we're doing right now. We are amplifying what works, and so understanding, testing what works is super, super important. One of the things that we are doing is. And when we write scripts and we write these things, we say, would a human say that? Would a robot say that? Can someone copy and paste it? So if a robot would say it, we take it out. If a copy and paste it, we take it out. If a human would say that, then we're good to go. And so making sure that we have in there jokes, making sure my only job is to make you smile. So we look at things going, will that statement make them smile? Whether it's automated or not, will that make them smile? Are we asking questions that are easy to answer? Like, because a lot of people go, so what's your thought? What do you think about this? Well, that's so open-ended. That's not good. Is this good? Will this work for you? Those are great questions to ask because there's yes and no's within that. So finding ways to always make sure you answer or end questions and conversations with those kind of things, that matters. And make sure it makes them smile.
I love that because that brings right the human front and center. You've got to first connect to people before they ever want to know. How can you help?
Yeah.
I love it. How do people find you, RUKE?
Well, so you can go to GameChangersClub.com. And if you want to find me, I'm kind of weird. I own my name, so it's not confusing. It's RUKE.com, and it leads to all my wonderful worlds.
Guys, go explore a wonderful world. Connect to RUKE. He is someone that I'm grateful to have connected with through a fun community. We're going to collaborate in lots of ways over the year. And yes. I love what you're doing. And I love that you challenge me to bring in AI and to set the world on fire in a bigger way. So thank you for that. Guys, go connect to RUKE and be back here for our next episode. We want to see you win. It's time to amplify your marketing message. Find your next client because they're out there. Go find them. We'll see you soon. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrappin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.